spin through the world you left. It's getting dark, a little too early. Are you missing the dearly bereft?
This is part of a very interesting journey that I'm taking, and hopefully I'll be able to show this to Mom, and maybe this will give her some sort of herself back, and she'll know that her family hasn't deserted her, and that they still love her very much.
Taking flight, and you could be here tomorrow. Taking flight, well, you could get here tonight.
I'm gonna fly on down, on the last stop in this town.
What?
I'm gonna fly on down and fly away.
Well, alright.
Yeah, I think it could be okay today. There's blue sky, there's a little bit of sunshine coming out. We might be okay. Of course, anything can happen in the next couple of 3 hours. Yeah.
There's Madeline Island. We're on our way to Madeline Island. It's nice and windy out here. I can feel the misty, wet air of what is this? What is this? Lake Superior. It is quite superior. Now we flew over Lake Erie coming here, and man, that's one muddy looking lake. But this looks like very clean, fresh.
It is. We could see when we were getting on the boat here. If you look down, the other day on Tuesday, it was clear enough you could see the bottom. It was very clear.
Taking a spin through the neighborhood, the neighbors scream what you talking about, 'cause I don't know how to let you in and I can't let you out.
It says the Schroedels. In April 1951, the Reverend Otto Schroedel, his wife Velma, and their two young children, Carol and Richard, braved the frozen channel from Bayfield to La Pointe on their first wind sled ride to take up residence at St. John's Parsonage and begin a unique chapter in their lives. Otto and Velma, both born and raised in Illinois, had moved from parish to parish across the United States in the 20 years of marriage prior to their trip on Nels Dollins wind sled. Wherever they lived, from the Ozarks to Washington State, the Schroedels always hoped to move to northern Wisconsin. They quickly became an integral part of not just the St. John's community, but of the tight-knit island community as well during the 12 years they lived in La Pointe. Between the creation of Woods Hall, ministry at St. John's, sailing, gardening, and the study and practice of Ojibwe crafts, such as black ash basketry, Otto and Velma devoted themselves wholeheartedly to life here before moving on to other parishes in 1963.
What if I was not your only friend in this world? Can you take me where you're going if you're never coming back?
I remember going with Mom and Uncle Rich, riding in Uncle Rich's MG to his apartment in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that was a big deal for me. And we traveled all the way up through Minnesota, and I remember his apartment, and then from there we went up to Madeline Island, and
How old were you?
probably about 6 or 7, 6 maybe. And we stayed in a tent on the property they owned at Madeline Island at that time. And I remember it being very dark and full of mosquitoes. And then I remember really clearly them letting me wade in the Lake Superior and how crystal clear and cold the water was. And I remember the color of the stones. And so that was a very special time for me that I remember coming. The first time I really remember Uncle Rich. Well, although I remember him coming home in Florence when I guess he was freshly out of the Navy too, you know, and so he was, I really admired Uncle Rich. He was, you know, sort of, you know, like I think a lot of young boys do, look up to an older teenager or 20-something and really admire him. And so I have pretty clear memories of that.
My first memory was when he came to our wedding. I really hadn't met him before that. I think that was when we met. Was at our wedding, or maybe the day before the wedding. And I remember he's in a wedding video, and I remember that he knew I was working in anthropology. You know, that I was interested in archaeology. Was working on that. We were graduate students at the time, Richard and I, and I was opening my wedding presents, and you know, I'm opening all this, you know, Corningware and Tupperware and all these, you know, all this kitchen stuff. And then there was a cardboard box, and Uncle Rich said something about, you know, he said, "Oh, sorry, it's used," you know, or something like that. I don't know. And I kind of, you know, I thought, huh? And I opened this box, and here's this gorgeous Mississippian pot. I mean, it's Native American. It's prehistoric. I will drop my teeth. I remember just going, "Oh my God!" You know, it was. I still have it. I mean, he must have gotten it from his dad's collection. It must have been, I don't know. It must have been in the family from the days when his dad was collecting things when they were in Illinois. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know where it came from. It must have been, you know, just in the family. But I about fainted. And I still have it, of course. So that's the first. That was the first time I knew I was in for something different there. So for our honeymoon, I had met Rich at the wedding, Uncle Rich, I mean, at the wedding, but you know, and I knew he lived down in Wisconsin. I knew it was rural, but I didn't have a clue just like how rural they were talking about. And we're driving. There's this pitch. We got there at night, of course. We always do. I don't know why. Pitch black, dark forest. It's like, you know, where the Sam Hill are we? And I remember, because it was dark, pulling up, and when you first pull up, the barn is ahead of you. And it was dark, you know, and I just saw this thing, and I assumed that was the house. That was where he lived. And then off to the side is like this little trailer, and I thought, oh, that must be like his work area, because I knew he was building a boat. So I thought that must be like his workshop. And I had him backwards. And the trailers where he lived, this enormous barn was where he was building the boat. So I had that completely backwards. But we didn't stay in either of those places. We stayed in the little trailer, well, it's not an Airstream, the little silver trailer. And it had no plumbing, you know, and I just loved the way that both Richard and Uncle Rich, it never crossed their minds that I would maybe like to have like a bathroom would have been a good idea. Never crossed their minds. And that's what I love about them. I mean, the two of them, right? They're like, "Oh, did she want a bath?" Well,
Do they expect you to go out into the woods
God
like
knows.
a bear?
God knows. And I was like, but I love that about them, that they just assumed that I'd be okay with this and I'd figure it out or I'd work it out or something. I do remember early one morning, though, waking Uncle Rich up, like banging on his trailer door going, "I have to go to the bathroom." And he's like, "Oh, what? You know, he's like still asleep. I woke him up like, "I'm coming in because I have to go to the bathroom." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." You know, but there was talk of bears. I remember the two of them. I remember Richard and Uncle Rich teasing me about, "Oh, the bears get in the trailer. You know, if you hear in the night, there's bears coming in."
I'm Marin's husband, and I had some wonderful times visiting with Rich out at the farm, and I stayed with him in the trailer at one time. I really enjoyed being with him. It was rather enjoyable, and I was so glad that I got a chance to see Ron and Ozzy when we were up here on the lake shore. And I remember Ron picking up pebbles from the lake just like he was a little boy. It was just beautiful to see something like that. Yes, I really, and I do want to say I'm sorry to hear what has happened, but we're very happy for having known Rich, a super guy.
Yeah, hi there, Ron and Carol. Stan and I are up here. Guess we're the only ones from our side of the family, the Watson side, that came up. But I'm glad to be here. Just sorry you guys aren't here. I was very much looking forward to seeing you guys again. Loved visiting and meeting you several years ago when we were up here, Stan and I, and I was looking forward to that. Meeting you again. So again, really sorry. This is a surprise. I was hoping I could get to know Rich a little better. So again, so sorry you couldn't be here. Sorry for your loss. And so take care, and hopefully we will see you later.
It was a joy to have grown up with Richard and shared his life. There's many good memories and some little scary things that we did as kids on the island that probably shouldn't be told, but
Okay. Clearly not recorded either.
Hi, Ozzy. This is Luella Nelson. I'm sending my love to you. Remember the day that your dad and Joanne Hagen and you and I went in the wind sled to Bayfield. We got to the Viking garage and your dad had forgotten his wallet and his keys on the dresser at home. And so anyway, we somehow got going to the Pike Lake Church in Ino. And the three of us girls would sing for the people. And Luella never could stay on key. And we had communion that day. It was Easter Sunday, April 1st, and your dad's birthday, all on the same day. And so church was over with, so we three girls went in the back in that little cubby hole, and we were passing around the grape juice from communion, finishing it off, when your dad came in and said, "Oh, girls, I still have shut-ins that we have to do communion for." So we simply added water and went and did communion for the shut-ins. We had to travel down roads that the mud was practically up to our knees, but we had fun all the way. And on the way home, your dad almost ran out of gas. We had to stop at a tavern to get some more gas. And he didn't have any money because he forgot his wallet on the dresser at home. So he had to use money from the collection plate to pay for the gas. So it was all in all a wonderful memory, and then we got on the wind sled and came back to the island, and we were so lucky to grow up here. And I want to remind you about the November day that all of us kids were riding around the island together, and we said, "We'll all give you a dime if you jump in the lake," and the boys all said, "We'll be right there to pull you out," and you did it. What a brave gal you were. I'm sure you're still brave now. I send you my love, and take care.
This very well-planned and long-planned event could not have happened without his sister Carol, and she is not able to be witness here nor with us. But she did write an obituary for him, which many of you may have received, and we thought it was her words that needed to be sent out. Richard Herman Schroedel was born August 26, 1941, to Reverend Otto William Schroedel and Velma Mildred Watson Schroedel. When Reverend Schroedel was serving the church in a little German community in Maystown, Illinois, Richard had a sister 3 years older, Carol Sigurd, known as Ozzy. In addition to the regular church services, Reverend Schroedel preached in German and once a month for the old people who still spoke German. In 1946, the Schroedel family moved to Quincy, Washington, to a church that had been founded by German-Russian wheat farmers. There, Richard entered first grade. In 1951, the family moved here to Madeline Island. Richard was then in the 4th grade, and it was an exciting adventure for the whole family to move to the island where they had heard that the ice froze over 3 feet thick and cars drove across on the winter road. Reverend Schroedel served as pastor of St. John's on the island, and the Schroedel children walked a mile to Bayview School, and Agnes Padot was the teacher. Scott Agnes was Richard's best friend, and they played chess together at school and spent many happy hours at play on the island. At the time when island kids attended Ashland High in their high school years, living with Ashland families during the week and returning to the island on weekends. And exciting as that trip was, It was often more exciting because of ice conditions. Rich had a camera and liked to take pictures. And in his senior year at Ashland High, he served as photographer for the yearbook. Upon graduation from Ashland High, Rich joined the U.S. Navy. He wanted to join the U.S. Air Force, but his eyes were not sharp enough for flying. Still, later in his life, he took flying lessons and did hang gliding. In the Navy, Rich served as missile man on board a naval vessel in unknown waters. His job was to place missiles into firing positions, and then, without firing them, to return back to storage position. Where in the world they sailed was top secret. It was during the time of the Cold War with Russia. One country they docked at was Spain, and Rich's sister Carol is wearing a black lace mantilla, she has it back home, that Rich bought her for her in Spain while he was in the Navy. Unlike many veterans, Rich returned safe and sound from the service and entered college on the GI Bill. He studied engineering at the University of Wisconsin. Rich found his study very difficult. In his senior year, he had the good fortune to take a course in computer programming, which he greatly enjoyed and was very good at. This was the early years of computer programming. Then Rich, lacking only one semester of college, left and got a job computer programming in Milwaukee. They must have really liked Rich there, as they paid him the same amount of money as the man with the master's degree, who sat in the desk next to him. A later job took Rich to Minneapolis, and still another took him around the world, teaching buyers how to operate his company's computer system. Over the years, Rich invested his own money in the stock market, and those were the good years of the market. After the folks died, and Rich inherited 40 acres back in Washburn, from them he was able to afford an early retirement. He put in a road and electricity, bought a trailer, put up a boat shed, and moved to the Washburn property. And while in retirement, Rich was able to complete the construction of a hull of a catamaran in the shed. Also, he participated in many sports, among them skiing, kayaking, sailboat racing. He participated in a musical in Ashland and regularly attended a support group for gluten-free eaters. Rich passed away suddenly on November 18th, 2014, in his driveway. A snowplow operator found him, and he leaves family and friends, and long ago friends, and a grateful nation. So this service really is about those people saying goodbye and laying him to rest. We ask first the family to come up with any flowers you want to offer to his remains. And then, because it is red clay, I'm asking people if they want to just put a little bit of grass, something in that symbolizes your connection.
Sunset, evening star, and one clear call for me. May there be no moaning of the bar, but I put out to sea. And I put out to sea. I put out to sea. May there be no moaning of the bar, but I put out to sea.
We present to you this American flag, the symbol of our country, that Richard H. Schroedel, are symbolic of the highest honor that can be received, the 21-gun salute. This is an honor afforded only to the President of the United States and departed veterans of the United States military. This is our spiritual heritage. Receive it with the tears of our souls and the faith in our hearts. As the years pass on, we too shall have finished our fight and shall be laid to rest, and our souls will follow the long column to the realms above. Thank you.
Ready, aim, fire! Half left, 4, reset.